Welcome to Character in Action with Matthew J. Norcross, the official podcast of the 7 Degrees of Change Foundation. Come journey with us on the real-life stories of character in action. And now here's your host, Matthew J. Norcross.
Welcome to Character in Action from the 7 Degrees of Change Foundation. I'm Matthew J. Norcross. Robbie Dillmore is away as of this recording. Last week, we spoke with Father Joseph Fezio, a Jesuit priest who is the founder of Ignatius Press. Well, we have another prominent Jesuit with us this week, Father Cornelius Buckley, a professor emeritus, at the University of San Francisco. A graduate from Santa Clara University in 1950, he entered the Society of Jesus that same year. He is the author of several books, including When Jesuits Were Giants, just to name a few, and also received a doctorate from Sorbonne University. He joins us now over the phone. Father Buckley, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm honored, yes.
Now, you're here today because you're a living example of character in action. Now, before we get started, can you tell our listeners more about yourself?
No, I don't think there's much more to tell than that. I just, I was a chaplain at Thomas Aquinas College in Santa Paula, California. It's an excellent college, and I was there for some 12, 13 years, and now I'm retired. I'm in a Jesuit retirement home in Los Gatos, California.
Very nice. Now, how would you define character?
Well, I think it's an ambiguous term. I think the way that you would want it is I guess the characteristics of the personality of an individual.
Right.
I think that would be one, and another one would be, I think, coming from that is strength. That is, a strength of purpose could also be a definition, it seems to me. I haven't thought of that, but that's very good. Yes, I think that's it. I think you also have the different types of characteristics of personality.
Right.
That is sanguine, choleric, melancholy, and phlegmatic are characteristics of character. So I don't know what else you say about character, yes?
I think that's a very good definition. I really, it's a very good definition, I might add. Now, I would like for you to tell us a story of witnessing either in person or in history. Someone that was a true phoenix, someone who was a role model, who was leading by example and made the world a better place.
Well, let me see. I think I could think of many stories of many saints, and I can think of a story of just right now. I was reading in the press about a man in New York on a subway, and there was a person that came in that was upsetting people and fighting with them and so forth, and he put everything aside and attacked the man and put him down, and that showed character. He protected these people against a possible danger, and he went out of himself to do that. I think that's a very modern type of characteristic. Namely, he showed ingenuity, he showed courage, and he showed respect for those people who were being taken advantage of. And it seems to me that the sense, and even today, that's a very strong character. And we also have characteristics of individuals in the past. I think the various saints underwent torture and so forth, and that showed character. I think especially Thomas More, who was a politician of great repute, and he made a real distinction about what is right and what is politically correct and what is morally correct. And he chose, of course, what is morally correct, and he did so, and with the result that he was put to death. I think that is a great example of character. There are probably others I can't think of right now, but you don't want too many, I guess.
Awesome. Hi, I am Richard. I'm helping produce the show. I had a question earlier about what you said when it seemed like you said melancholy being part of character. Was that correct? Did I hear that correct?
Yeah, that's a part of the character of an individual. Yeah, there's the four types of characters.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
And choleric was the one was outgoing and aggressive and very not introspective, but extrospective. He was a person that had great courage, I think, choleric and great determination. And then sanguine was something similar to that, but not without the stick-to-itness, and one that would be more fluid and would not stick necessarily to his ideas, although would be an extrovert like a choleric, and would also be a person that would take a certain stance as far as leadership is concerned, that would not have the same stick-to-itness as I felt as the choleric. The melancholy would be more of a person that's introverted and a person that is very given maybe to pessimism, sorrow, but also a very strong personality. And a phlegmatic person is the one that's it doesn't move much. It is a person that is not affected by things outside of himself in general.
Awesome. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Just because I've read older Puritan books, and sometimes it just seemed like melancholy was just how they describe depression. And so when you was explaining that as a character trait, I was like, oh wow, it must be deeper than that. So thank you so much for that.
Well, yeah, it is. And a melancholic person is one that can be very, very sympathetic and very and can be one that could easily suffer with other people. All of these words, come from the Greek words for certain bodily symptoms. And melancholy is a kind of a liver person, a person who's melancholy has liver. Yes. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, please share a moment with us that stands out in your mind, something big that was a transformative Phoenix moment, one where you had an incredibly significant impact on someone's life or on a group of people.
Somebody that had an impact on a life, you say?
Yeah.
Because of character?
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anybody right off. I think that there are many that we can think of. I imagine. I think historically speaking, there have been individuals who have made a great impression on people. I'm thinking of Pizarro, for example. It went down to Peru, and he kind of drew a line on the sand and said to anybody that wanted to follow him to do so, step over that line. And what would happen is that they would do a lot of suffering, a lot of putting up with a lot of difficulties and so forth. But if they achieved their goal with him, they would be very rich. They would get all sorts of money and gold and so forth. So it seems to me that it's an individual who gives a challenge to others to move on, to step over the line and take the chance of suffering, but at the same time being awarded when he reaches the goal. I think, Balboa did that too. When he invaded Mexico from Chile, he ordered it was the same thing. He only wanted people that were going to be able to suffer and even to die for a particular cause. And when they landed on the shore, he burned the ships so that they couldn't return. And in a way, that showed leadership, and it shows courage, and it showed that the individuals who followed him had courage and had also faith in him, who was a great leader. I don't know if that answers your question. I guess maybe these are questions you had before that I should have looked at and prepared better.
You're totally fine. Now, earlier on the show, you were mentioning respect. Now, this is an incredibly important trait, and sadly, not a lot of people demonstrate it anymore, which is unfortunate.
Respect. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you think we can rekindle that trait of respect today?
Well, I think respect basically is based on the fact that we recognize the qualities in the people that we're dealing with. That is, we see that there are people that deserve respect because, from a Christian point of view, they're made in the image of God, and Christ told us that any time that we deal with another person, we should see the Lord Himself in that person. Mm-hmm. And I think if that's the case, then that's the basis of respect, the showing the internal honor and integrity of the person, and we recognize that, and we go along with that. It seems to me that's the purpose of respect. I mean, that's the basis upon which respect is built. And but we can see that even in a pagan culture with the Romans and the Greeks and so forth, those who had respect for the individual showed respect for that person because the individual who showed that respect recognized the qualities in that person that demanded attention and loyalty and honor and respect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That makes me think of when I think about Philippians, the book of Philippians, where Paul is telling the Christians to have a Christ-like example. And the first thing that he even explains is he explains how we should seek the desires of others before ourselves. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're saying in the sense of having respect is something that's built in. That is, there's nothing you're going to do right now for me to give you that respect. I'm going to have to, in my mind, seek your desires above mine, which may be simply put, just being human, listening to each other, whatever.
Well, I think respect, though, would mean recognizing qualities in a person.
Oh, wow.
And you have to recognize that. And I think that basically today is one of the principles of why we say abortion is wrong. We recognize the humanity in the individual, the person that is being aborted, and therefore we have to show that person respect. And respect does not mean putting the person to death. So, if you treat it just as a fetus and not really a person, you don't have to show respect. But if it's a person, you show respect, and it is a person from the time of conception. So I think that today is a good example of respect, and why respect is not honored, particularly in that particular practice.
Wow.
Yeah. So another great character trait that I absolutely love talking about is responsibility. Now, As a Catholic priest and a professor emeritus at USF, you have, or had rather, two responsibilities. Over the years, how did you manage being both a priest and an educator?
Well, a priest and a what?
An educator.
A teacher, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's a contradiction. I think what is it? The characteristic first of all you mentioned respect,
Responsibility.
Responsibility. I'm sorry. I thought it was
No, that's okay.
Responsibility. Well, if a person has really integrity, he's responsible for what he does, and I think you have to see that there are consequences to all decisions and actions we make, and there are consequences, and part of that is, of course, before you mentioned respect. You have a responsibility to show respect to people. You have a responsibility to the office in which you have, and to carry that out, because that's the way that you decided that you were going to do, being a professor or whatever it is, and you're responsible, it seems to me, for the people who look up to you and who for whom you are making some type of a commitment. That is, as a teacher has a responsibility to his students. A priest, of course, has responsibility to make Christ present in the people that he deals with. And so that type of responsibility is I think, one of the characteristics of character, is recognizing that a person has responsibility that he has taken on his own. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really good answer. I like that.
Me too.
Because I guess I never would think about responsibility in some sense. With respect for someone else, you then take on the responsibility.
Well, I think the two are connected.
Yeah.
I mean, they're different, of course, but they're connected. And so responsibility also shows loyalty to the person who either gave you the job or for whom you are committed to fulfill that operation that you've taken on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another great trait that I always mention all the time on this show is fairness. And my question to you is, how would you define fairness, and how would you want people to...
Is fear?
Fairness.
What part? Fair?
Fair, yes.
Fair.
Yeah. Now, how would you want people to demonstrate this trait in both their professional and personal lives?
Well, I think the person has to, again, be... it comes from justice. That is to say, you have to show justice to the person that you are dealing with, and that means being fair to that person. That is,
right.
Recognizing the integrity of the person, and recognizing also the commitment you have to that person, and giving the gift or giving the promise or whatever it is that you've committed yourself to in regard to that person. That's being fair. I think it's based, of course, on respect for a person, and it's based also on justice, the commitment that you have made to that person, and I think that's what fairness means. Justice.
Yeah. Fairness and justice. Now, another great trait that's one of my personal favorites is trustworthiness. Now, being a person of faith is, in my opinion at least, all about trustworthiness. And my question to you is, how do you build trust in the how do you build trust when it comes to faith?
Well, you have to recognize the person who is telling you what to do, and in whom you have trust. I think if you how do you build trust in a person? Is that it?
Correct.
Or in yourself?
Yeah, in a person and yourself.
Yeah, well, I think if you see that a person is trustworthy, that is, that person is worthy of your commitment to whatever he is or she is trying to tell you what to do, you have trust in that person. You see that person is, you say, trustworthy. That is, a person that can be depended upon to do what that person says that the person is going to do. If the person is going to teach you about something, you have to be trustworthy to what you are teaching the person, and you have to be trustworthy to the person himself or herself as well. That is, you have to know that person is a person that is worthy of your commitment to that person, I think. I'm not saying that very easily. I apologize for that. I think that there were probably these questions that you set out, but I didn't look at them or I didn't receive them, so I don't know. But a person that's trustworthy is one that has integrity, and a person that is just, and also a person that is charitable toward others. And if you have those characteristics in the person, see them in the person, then you're going to say that person is trustworthy, and you can commit yourself to doing whatever that person says that he or she is going to do for you.
So you said trustworthiness and then charitable. So how do those relate?
Well, I think if you see that the person is charitable, that is, it shows kindness toward others, that person can be trusted. And also, it seems to me that a person who respects others is a person who is kind. And therefore, you can put your faith, so to speak, in that person and in the message that the person is bringing to you, the lesson or whatever it is. The person is trust.
Yeah.
You can depend upon that person, because that person has integrity. That person has personality that is worthy of the message that he is giving you, imparting to you, and you can therefore trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, two more questions and then we'll go. And this one is about caring, which is another great trait. Now, being a person of faith is a good demonstration of the trait of caring, rather. How do you live out this trait?
As a person of faith?
Correct.
Well, you see, it's the basic here that you see that all people are made to the image and likeness of God, and so in dealing with others, Christ says, you're dealing with me, that is, you're dealing with God himself. so therefore, you see in every person the God, and you see that you have to act toward him in a way that's pious, in a way that's respectful, and in a way that shows charity. When that is to say, if charity is also love, and that is that you love that person in the same way that you love your body, because that person is a part of the body of Christ, and it deserves, therefore, your devotion and your respect, and therefore you show him love, charity. And if you act in a charitable way, means that you act in a way that shows your love for that person. And if you, that's it. That's about it. If you shows your love for the person and respect for the person.
Yep, and it's a great way that we can bring character back into our culture, that's for sure. Father Cornelius Buckley, thank you for joining us. It was an honor and a privilege to be able to speak with you today.
Well, I think I owe you an apology, if you know what that is.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Because I did not, I did not preview these questions. I don't know what. I think I saw them once, but I didn't. I don't know what happened to them. So I'm sorry if I kind of mumbled here, or if I went around.
Oh, you're fine.
Here. So fine. All right. Well, thank you for your patience, and God bless you in the work that you're doing, whatever it is, and that it's bringing charitable and justice to others. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's pretty far away then, and
thank you to Richard Shannon for your help today on this episode. And thank you for listening. I'm Matthew J. Norcross, and always remember, everyone can be a phoenix.